Hey everyone, it's Greg Landsman.
And Marc Veasey from Fort Worth, Texas.
This is the Fly-In Podcast, a podcast brought to you by the New Democrats. We've got Congressman Joe Morelle and Congresswoman Sarah McBride on the show today, and we're going to cover the potential government shutdown and member security, plus a game and the clip of the week. Welcome to the Fly-In. Sarah McBride from Delaware and Joe Morelle from New York, two of my favorite members. Thank you for joining us. We're going to get into the potential government shutdown and member security, which, Joe, you've been leading on. But first, for those who may not know you as well, 3 things that people should know about you, Joe.
Let's see, I represent Rochester, New York, upstate New York, which is the eastern edge of the Midwest. That's how I describe it. And live in the same neighborhood I grew up in, a very working class neighborhood. My mom and dad finished high school and both worked at a great home for 5 kids. And I love my family and hanging out. And I'm about as average as you could find a human being to serve as a member of Congress.
So
and I'm particularly excited, number 3, to be with Sarah McBride,
Aww.
my buddy.
It's interesting you said that because I feel like I am the most average member.
I'll fight you from being most
I
average.
think that, yeah. We should
I think
do it.
everyone
I'm
knows
pretty
I'm
boring.
the most typical and average member
Yeah,
of
exactly.
Congress.
So 3 things people should know about you, Sarah.
I guess I'm not going to say one of them is that I'm grateful to be here. I'm just going to say I'm grateful to be here, but not waste one of my 3 on that.
Yeah.
First thing, I am an absolute statriot. I represent Delaware, the entirety of Delaware. I represent more people in the House than any voting member of the House, more than 1 million people in what is objectively the greatest state in the history of the Union. I think both of you would agree with that statement.
Outside of Ohio.
In New York.
Of course.
The Empire State.
But then, yeah. Then,
Number 2, I am an absolute paid leave fanatic. I was in the Delaware State Senate prior to my time in Congress, and I led our effort to pass paid family and medical leave there. That was rooted in my experience as a caregiver. I believe that everyone should have the time and ability to get the care that my late spouse was able to get. And so I'm eager to continue to work on paid family and medical leave and child care like I did in the State Senate here in the House. And then the third thing, I'm a Swiftie, and this past month was a pretty big month for us Swifties.
so are you were excited about the engagement news?
I was excited, yeah. I mean, mostly because it's like something positive that's not political.
Yeah. And then do you have any predictions on where the wedding will take place?
I mean, I'm rooting for Delaware.
Why would it be Delaware? Wait,
Just 'cause she's rooting
She has
for
a
it.
place in Rhode Island, but not Delaware, right?
Yeah, she has a place. She does not have a place in Delaware, but it should be in Delaware because why wouldn't it be in Delaware? Why wouldn't she want to get married in the greatest state in the union?
Yeah, I don't know. To be fair.
Rehoboth is fantastic. It's very
Maybe
romantic.
it's going to end up being Delaware.
I mean, listen, I'm making the pitch here. Travis Kelce basically got in a relationship with Taylor Swift because he said something on a podcast. I'm going to make it that saying this on this podcast is
The
what
wedding's
leads
gonna be in
to
Delaware?
a wedding in Delaware for Taylor and Travis.
In addition to those wonderful things, you also, the two of you have a pretty unique relationship. Can you talk a little bit about your friendship and why you came on together?
Well, Sarah and I met just about a year ago, a little over a year ago, at the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. We were introduced by a mutual friend who I think you may know as well, Ian Kahn.
Yeah, sure.
The actor who portrayed George Washington on this great series on, I think on AMC, I should get that right, Turn. And we started talking about books, really. Now, I will say this, I'm going to give her a mulligan because Sarah has completely failed in her freshman year as a member of the House because we were talking about starting a book club because we loved many of the same. We were talking a lot of books, and I said, because this is what I do, I give assignments to people when they mention something like we should have a book club. I said, good, you'll be in charge of it, didn't I? You're the president of the book club.
Typical ranking member giving all of the hard work.
Exactly, giving it to other people. So we
Are
had
you
a
going to
great
start a book club?
We're going to start one.
Aspirational.
Aspirationally?
Start a book
Do you
club.
have a theme? Like, do you, or is it
Books is really the theme.
but like, is
I
it
mean,
going to be like,
I forget what book
political,
we were talking about, but we
non-political,
start-
fiction, nonfiction?
So I think Joe is more worldly than I am, so he has a broader. So the first time anyone's described you as worldly.
Completely.
Joe,
Completely.
he's more worldly than I am, so I think he has a broader range of books that he's interested in. But we both bonded over our mutual love of history.
Yes.
And Team of Rivals.
Team of Rivals. Did we
was-
talk about Grant? Hamilton?
Talked about Grant. There were a couple other
There were
ones.
some really good books.
Some David McCullough, I think,
Yes.
that we talked about.
Yep.
I'm actually rereading Team of Rivals right now for the third time. I think it's the best book on leadership that I've ever read.
Love it.
Speaking of history, Congress seems to be heading towards another potential government shutdown. We are, less than 30 days away from a potential shutdown. 14 legislative days, I believe. They control the White House, the House, and the Senate. What is your take and message at this point coming into these final few weeks on this, and why should people be paying attention, Joe?
Well, honestly, the whole budgeting process here in Washington is a complete and utter failure. And it has been for years. It's even more so now. I serve on the Appropriations Committee, which, in the normal order of things, is supposed to pass 12 appropriation bills on various subjects, send them to the Senate or vice versa, and we all agree and we get these passed before September 30th. I think it's happened successfully once in the last quarter century.
Yeah.
So a little bit like a team that's in last place year after year, at some point you should think maybe we should do this differently, or maybe we need to handle it differently. But we continue to sort of continue down this road, and it's going to lead, particularly now with what Trump has done, in our view, in violation of law to rescind money. He's just indicated that he doesn't really care what Congress, what their role is, and as a result, I think he threatens and may be intending to shut the government down. That actually may be his goal, and that's why I think he treats us with such disdain.
Sarah?
Yeah, I mean, look, when I was in the Delaware State Senate, I worked consistently in a bipartisan way. And I said when I ran that I was willing to work with anyone who was willing to work with me. Well, unfortunately, time and time again, the Republicans have decided to pursue partisan vehicles for government funding. The appropriations bills that we have voted on have been thoroughly partisan. They have not been the byproduct of a collaborative process. They have not taken into account Democratic perspectives. And my guess is we will likely see Republican leadership do this time what they did back in March, which is a partisan CR. They can't expect us to vote for a partisan vehicle that we had no opportunity to have a say in and to influence. And ultimately, if they choose a partisan CR vehicle, partisan continuing resolution, then they will own that CR and the success or failure of that CR and whatever consequences come from it. Because the reality is that there is an affordability crisis in this country that predates this administration but has been worsened by this administration. There are some simple things that they can do to address that cost of living crisis, whether it's extending the ACA tax credits. There are so many different things that they can do to make life better for people that a CR could be an opportunity to advance those policies in. But my guess is that we are going to see them continue to kick the can down the road in dealing with those cost of living issues while pursuing a partisan CR that allows this administration to continue to slash and burn federal programs that people rely on. And I think that underscores a larger problem, which is that this administration is fundamentally untrustworthy.
Yeah, I think the other piece, and then I want to get into member security, I think the other piece is that there's something truly un-American about this whole process. The American people do want Democrats and Republicans to work together. I suspect you hear this when you go home. I hear it constantly when I'm home, which is, it would be better if everyone worked together. I mean, the hyper-partisanship really exists in Washington and in state houses, but it's not something that Americans, really believe in. And so this idea that they're just going to go it alone and then potentially shut the government down because they can't do their jobs, they can't get the work done, is also un-American. That's just not what we do. We get things done. So I just find the whole thing to be not only hurtful to Americans, but the way in which they've approached it to be entirely or wholly un-American. Member security, Joe, you've been leading this on our end. Can you talk a little bit about the uptick in political violence, what it means to members, and what should be happening?
Yeah, in the last decade, we've seen a 100-fold or 10-fold increase in the number of threats. We've gone from 900 a year to about 9,000
Wow.
per year against members of Congress in just the last decade. Given what happened in Minnesota and the tragedy there, we are taking very, very seriously the need to make sure that members, staff, and people who just come to the Capitol complex are protected. And for members and staff, not only here in Washington, where it's a little easier, we have the United States Capitol Police here. Back home is where we have real concerns, town hall meetings, where you have public events. So we issued a report, Democrats, on things that we think ought to happen to enhance safety for members. But you know, I will say this, the environment that we find ourselves in where, and I hate to put this all at his feet, but the president certainly takes a lot of blame for the manner in which he speaks about other people.
Yeah, oh, sure.
You know, talking about humans and calling them scum, or talking about people as and dehumanizing them and demonizing them, has really led to a lot of the violent underpinnings of this era.
It creates a permission structure for everyone else to behave the same, creating so much division and animosity, which, you know, can lead to violence, because it only takes one unwell person who has typically access to a weapon to cause real harm.
Yeah.
What should we be doing? I mean, what should the United States Congress be doing, what you're working on?
So I think we have to be mindful of a couple things. One, we want to do things that will actually enhance the safety of members. Second, we have to be mindful of the fact that many Americans don't love the idea that Congress is spending millions of dollars on its own protection when many of them feel unsafe in their
Yeah,
community.
for sure.
So you got to be thoughtful about it. But I think we definitely need more protection back home. That's really where my emphasis is, in trying to get additional dollars and resources to protect members when they're in their home communities.
Sarah, this is your first year as a member of Congress. You were in the state legislature. What's the difference? I mean, have you been surprised at how serious these threats have been towards members?
You know, one of the things I, like pretty much every candidate today, had to grapple with when deciding whether to run for Congress was the real risk that comes with putting yourself out there and running and serving in Congress in this moment of such severe toxicity in our politics, where the rhetoric is so dehumanizing. And you know, for me, even before the last election, where there was $200 million spent on anti-trans ads, I knew as a trans person that there'd be an extra target on my back for attacks. And you know, before I decided to run, there were a number of people who were sharing sort of information that they had from the far right that really called into question my safety, even for running for Congress. And there was a period of time where I almost didn't do it because I was scared.
Yeah.
And I ultimately decided to do it, and fortunately things worked out, but I decided to do it because I felt like if I didn't do this because of that risk of violence, then they would win. If they can silence people through the fear of violence from fully participating in our democracy, then they win. That is the goal of political violence. And you know, being here, I am very lucky. Capitol Police are incredible. And so much credit to Joe, because while we bonded over our mutual love of history books, Joe is the godfather of the freshman class every 2 years as the ranking member of House Administration. And he, in particular, was incredibly supportive and helpful for me as I navigated as a freshman in an environment where there were a lot of attacks coming my way, and there was a lot of attention that I was experiencing because of my identity. And fortunately, Joe has fought for progress, Leader Jeffries has fought for progress. But I think stepping back, we have to recognize that regardless of what your background is, regardless of where you fall on the political spectrum, political violence is not just dangerous for people who run for office or serve in public office, it's corrosive to our democracy.
Yeah.
Because if people don't run or don't serve if people don't participate, I mean, right now I've got people saying, I'm afraid to attend protests. I'm afraid to
Go vote.
speak out. I'm afraid to vote. If that is our norm, then we do not have a democracy.
Yeah.
And I think it's so critical, regardless of your party affiliation or your ideology, to push back against the normalization of political violence and also push back against the kind of rhetoric and politics that has laid the foundation for the violence we've seen and the greater risks that we see.
Joe, Sarah, thank you so much. Sarah, you're going to stick around and play a game with us.
I love games.
All right, Sarah is sticking around to play a game, and we'll do the clip of the week together. But we have Marc now. Welcome.
Good to be with y'all.
It's the fly-in,
Yeah,
so like
fly-in.
everyone flies in at different times.
Everybody
Delayed?
I was woefully delayed out of DFW Airport coming into DCA, and love my airline, but it is what it is.
It happens.
It happens.
Well, we're glad
It's
you're
part
here.
of flying in.
Occupational hazard.
Yeah, it's part of flying in.
All right, so the game allows us to cover some of the more newsy, things that have transpired. We'll see whether or not you've been following the news and during the district work period.
Fantastic.
All right,
I noticed that Joe left. He's not in the hot seat for this.
He's not in the hot seat. No, we believe you'll do well. We weren't sure about Joe.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, number one. What is the social media account taking the internet by storm with its wildly accurate impersonations of President Trump?
Oh, it's Governor Newsom's press office.
There you go. I'm not sure. I wasn't sure if you get the name.
Yeah, it's notable because it's not him; it's his office.
His press
Yeah,
office.
and it's fire too. What music superstar recently announced their engagement?
Oh, Taylor Swift.
To who?
Travis Kelce.
That's right.
And
That is right.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
There's a rumor they might get married in Delaware.
There is.
Oh, I've not heard that.
Marc, there's not a rumor. She said it earlier in the podcast.
Okay.
She's trying to make it happen by saying it on a podcast.
Maybe Joe Biden will be officiating.
Or me.
That could be, or you.
That's the only way I
Why
can
would it be
invite.
Joe Biden? You got Sarah McBride.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
All right. Last week, Trump announced his attempt to remove Lisa Cook as governor of which crucial and independent federal banking agency?
The Federal Reserve, the Fed.
I mean, it's really insane.
Oh, it's completely insane. And think about that. I mean, here's a guy that is taking jets from the Qataris, whose son basically went on Fox and Friends and said that his dad should be able to fleece people for money because they had to spend so much time fighting lawsuits and banks wouldn't give them loans. And so they actually are entitled to be able to use their power in our government to make as much money as they possibly can. It's completely insane
And catastrophic economically. I mean,
absolutely.
he is so desperate for them to lower interest rates, but the reality is that his behavior is only going to deepen the economic challenges that this country faces and likely worsen the cost of living crisis for people.
The Trump administration is facing bipartisan pushback after HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. fired the director of which critical health agency?
Well, our noted global public health expert, Dr. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., MD, fired the head of the CDC.
The head of the CDC. Yeah. So the independent Federal Reserve and the core of our public health system, gone. Good job.
Thank
Hey,
you.
High five.
Good
Thank
job.
you.
Yeah.
This is a new segment we're trying out where the staff picks a clip of the week and we react to it. So let's roll the clip.
You know nothing about what a working class citizen does. Come down here. Come down here and start trying to pay your medical insurance. Come down here and walk into Costco to try to feed your family. You need to take your head out of Trump's ass and start doing your representation of us.
So that clip was from Congressman Alford's town hall in Missouri. It probably got, its virality because of the, you got to take your head out of Trump's ass. Is that the line?
Yeah.
Sorry, it's a weird line. But I think it's a good clip for us to tackle because it speaks to the affordability crisis and the anxiety that people have, plus the frustration that their politicians aren't working for them, particularly Congressional Republicans who have been working with this president to make things worse.
Yeah, especially in a state like Missouri where they are prioritizing mid-decade redistricting, which we find ourselves embroiled in Texas right now, versus actually trying to help people, right? Like it's like everything else, but how do we help people right now? And I don't know if you saw that article in the Wall Street Journal about how people really feel like they can no longer achieve the American dream. And I'm trying to figure out why something like that is not the main focus of this White House, Speaker Johnson and Thune. It's just not, though. It's just like they have just turned their back on actually trying to get something done so they can serve Trump. And I think that that's an anxiety that a lot of people have. And to me, more so than him, saying that, you get your head out of Trump's orifice, that it really is more about, hey, we have some things that need to be addressed, but your main goal seems to be to keep kissing this guy's ass.
Yeah, and it's a complete betrayal of the campaign promises that they made. I mean, this president ran on the promise of lowering costs for American workers, families, and retirees.
That's right.
And not only have they broken that promise by not prioritizing cost of living, they're actually making the cost of living crisis worse.
Yeah.
Healthcare will be more expensive. It's already more expensive because they're currently letting the ACA tax credits expire because of the Medicaid cuts. Food is more expensive, including because they cut food assistance for millions across the country. And of course, everything is pretty much going to be more expensive because of Trump's reckless tariff policies. And so not only has he broken his promise in not prioritizing solving the cost of living crisis, he's breaking it by making it worse for people. And to your point, to the gentleman at the town hall's comments, I mean, what is the organizing principle of the Republican Party at this point in Congress?
Trump.
It is Trump. It is to do his bidding, whatever he wants.
Right.
They will say yes, how high, how many people can we cut?
Right, exactly.
And what this gentleman is saying, I hear constantly, which is it's about the affordability crisis. You have got to make this country affordable again. And if you don't, we're going to ask somebody else to lead.
Yeah.
Sarah, thank you. It was a pleasure. As always, come on whenever you want.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Great to be with you both.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you all for joining us this week. Before we take off, please remember to follow us across social media platforms and to rate and review the show wherever you get podcasts. We love to hear from you. We'll see you next time we fly in.
Adios, y'all.